what I talk about a lot with clients is we have the answers inside of us. And the uncomfortableness happens when we start to try to get those answers outside of ourselves, right? Saying that someone else has the answer. And if I do it this way,
Mm-hmm.
and when we think about it, if we tune into that uncomfortableness, we would see it, right? But a lot of times we can disconnect from our body and how we're feeling and stay in the mind and just push and move forward and just kind of ignore the signs sometimes. So part of it too with the empath stuff is learning to identify like what are my feelings, what are my emotions versus everyone else's.
Welcome to Radiant Mom Rising. Get ready to be inspired, empowered, and uplifted. I'm your host, Mary Dibble, and in each episode, we dive into amazing stories, insights, and conversations that help moms like you chase your dreams and embrace your worth. Let's rise and shine together. Welcome back to Radiant Mom Rising. I'm your host, Mary Dibble, and before we dive into today's episode, I want to share something truly special with you, the Mom Biz Mastery course and community. This course is designed just for moms who dream of becoming entrepreneurs or already are on that journey. Whether you're starting out or looking to grow, Mom Biz Mastery offers genuine guidance and support through every twist and turn. Imagine having the clarity to kickstart your business and the tools to make it thrive. This course is packed with strategies, insights, and options to help you discover what lights you up and fits your unique path. Plus, you'll join an incredible community of other like-minded moms on similar journeys for further support, coaching, and networking. Click the link in the show notes to learn more. I can't wait to see you inside. Today, we have a truly enlightening episode that you won't want to miss. Have you ever wondered why you feel so deeply or why other people's emotions seem to weigh you down? Maybe you've even been told that you're too sensitive or that you need to toughen up. Well, what if I told you that your sensitivity is actually one of your greatest strengths? In today's episode, we're joined by the amazing Monica Owsichek. Monica is an intuitive healer and energetic coach, helping empaths embrace their sensitivity, which is often seen as a weakness, so they can let go of the constant feelings of overwhelm, exhaustion, and overstimulation. Being an empath, Monica knows what it's like to be told you are a super feeler or too sensitive. She also knows what it's like to turn your sensitivity into your strength. She has the unique ability to create a calm, safe space for women that allow them to heal as they find their unique path to peace. Monica's journey from struggling with her sensitivity to embracing it as a gift is nothing short of inspiring. She'll be sharing her personal story along with practical advice on how you can release the emotional baggage that isn't yours, set healthy boundaries, and truly thrive as a sensitive soul. So, if you're ready to stop feeling overwhelmed and start living a life of peace and purpose, stick around. This episode is going to transform the way you see yourself and your sensitivity. Hope you enjoy.
Thank you for tuning in to Radiant Mom Rising. Mary Dibble here, and I am with Monica. Thank you so much for joining me. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Mary. Thank you so much for having me today. I'm excited to chat with you.
I'm excited to chat with you as well, and I love our conversations. I love your personality. I'm excited to have you here. So why don't we get started with you just introducing yourself and telling us a little bit about who you are and what you do?
So, my name is Monica Owsichek, and I am an intuitive coach and an energetic healer. And I really work with empaths to help them embrace their sensitivity because I find that a lot of times in our society, it's seen as a weakness. And so it really helps women to let go of that constant feeling of overstimulation and overwhelm so that they can find their unique path to peace, being such a highly sensitive person.
That's incredible and so needed and very true of many of us face. So tell us a little bit about your journey with that in your own personal life that led you to want to help people in this way.
I would say it's been about 10 years that I realized I was an empath. And if I look back, it was really at a time when I was really struggling. I felt really defeated and I felt really lost in life. I had been searching and seeking to feel better. The past probably 5 years prior to that, I'd been dealing with a health issue. And so I had all of my energy and all of my focus and all of my attention just trying to feel better. And, I tried everything, diets and supplements and cleanses and Eastern doctors, Western medicine. And I was still just not feeling any better. And I just remember I was lying on a massage table and I was going to start a session with a woman that was an intuitive healer. And I really didn't know, what was going to be happening. The acupuncturist that I was working with, she had recommended I go see this intuitive healer to help me. And at that point, I was like, all right, if you think this is going to help me, I'm going to do it. And so I just kind of went in blind. And I just remember lying on the table, and the woman was explaining that she could either ask me questions and dig a little deeper, or we could just see what comes up in the session. And I remember thinking, I was a little skeptical. I'm like, I'm not sure what this is going to be. I'm just not going to say anything and see what comes up. She went on and she told me that she works with angels and with God and with Jesus to, create that safe space. And so I said, okay, let's just see what comes up. And so she just had me lay on a table and she just told me to relax and just to take some deep breaths. And she said that she was going to be putting her hands above my body. She would never actually touch my body, but she said she'd have her hands above my body. So she kind of got started. And, I remember lying there and just taking some deep breaths, having some hope that this was going to help me. And I would kind of peek, right? Because my eyes were closed. But I'm like, I kind of want to know what she's doing. So I would see her hand starting at my feet, moving up to above my ankles, up my legs. And she'd kind of pause around my hips and my stomach. And then she moved to my chest. And I remember just kind of taking a deep breath in. And I just closed my eyes. And next thing you know, I was just bawling, uncontrollably bawling. And it just took me a minute. It kind of was that moment where you feel like you're out of your body and you're just watching. So I just kind of felt like myself watching myself cry on the table. And it took me a while. It was like this 1 minute I'm sitting there listening to these ocean waves, and the next minute I'm just crying. So after a little bit of time, I got my composure back and we were talking. And I kind of half jokingly said, like, what did you do to me to cause me to cry like that? Just out of the blue, right? She didn't say anything to me. And what she explained is that as she was moving her hands through my body, she was connecting to my energy. And so when she would stop, she would kind of feel like a stuckness or a heaviness. And when she got to my heart, she said she just really felt this overwhelming weight and heaviness and darkness there. And so what she was doing was really helping me to break that up and release it. And she explained that I had a lot of pent up emotions that I was holding on to, and that it kind of got stuck in my heart chakra. And so she was helping me to release it all. She also made an interesting comment that she also felt that I was holding on emotions of other people.
Oh,
And I remember
yeah.
thinking, that's an interesting comment, but I think I just kind of blew it off. And I remember just leaving thinking, I don't know what she did, but I felt freer, I felt lighter, and I felt calmer. And so I continued to work with her. And I worked with another woman that was in her office. And I just know that, every time I went, I felt better, even though I didn't know exactly what was happening. But they started to talk to me more about what an empath meant and that I was an empath. And, it took me a little while to really kind of let that sink in because it's kind of a hard concept, right? Like, why would I be taking on emotions of other people and why would I be holding on to them? And so after a while, they kind of prodded me about it and they offered a class called The Awakening. And it was just time. I think it was time for me to kind of let go and embrace it. And I took the class, and that's where I really learned more about what it meant to be an empath. And then what do you do, right? Because a lot of times you can figure out, okay, I do this, but now what do I do? Do I just have to live feeling everybody else's stuff? And so that was about 10 years ago. And I continued to work with them for another couple of years. And after that, they would make comments like, this is the work that you're meant to do, and you're going to help other women. And I, again, resisted for a while, but then finally really, really came around. And what I've really noticed too is the more I did work with them and the more I did my own healing work, that's what helped me heal the health issues that I was having. And I noticed that the more I worked on releasing all those pent up emotions, the better I felt, right? And I felt like, oh, wow, I did all these other things to try to fix like supplements and pills and diets. And when I looked at the emotions, that's when things started to feel better. And it's really a cool process because now it's almost like a guide for me. I can still have flare ups, and then it's like, oh, what's going on? Am I avoiding something? Am I around people that I'm absorbing their energy and I'm not really clearing that energy? And so it's been a cool process to learn about being an empath and how it can really shift your life once you can embrace it and understand it.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, absolutely. It's all about really learning who you are, and it's similar in its own way of like when I hear somebody who finds out later in life they have ADHD. And it's like you have these things that helps connect some puzzle pieces that you've been kind of missing your whole life. And then you get this opportunity, like you say, it's one thing to find out about it, but I love the fact that you explored it because that's so important. It's like it's one thing to know something, but it's a whole nother thing to really know, like, well, what's next? Well, what does that mean for me? And what does that mean for my life? And now you have been gifted with these incredible tools and skills that help not only other people, but you help you in your because life's life, right? We're gonna have our ups and downs. So now you have this way of shifting in those moments and understanding. And it's even more incredible to hear of how it helped you with all these issues that you were suffering with for so long.
Yeah, and to your point, it amazes me how I meet a lot of women in particulars who I work with, I tend to attract,
Yeah.
and they are also healers, maybe nurse or caretakers or in positions, moms,
Yeah.
and they may even have that awareness that they're an empath, but they've almost resolved, well, there's nothing I can do about it,
Mm.
right? And so that's the message that I want to share, that there is something that you can do about it. It's not, some people look at it as a life sentence,
Mm. Yeah.
right? Like,
Oh, yeah.
it's just my cross to bear. And yes, it is, but I feel like once you can embrace it, understand it, and learn the tools, it can turn more into a gift because you can connect deeply with other people and you can hold space for them. But when you can learn that you don't have to carry it and walk away with it, right? It doesn't have to become yours. That's when the difference.
Yeah. And it's like you don't have to be defeated by it, or it didn't have to be a negative experience. I just love seeing how so many women are embracing their uniqueness, embracing these things that could have a negative impact on so many people or just seem like it's daunting or like the life sentence, but it's not. It's just part of who we are. And it absolutely can be a gift. And I think that's so great that you've been able to shift that. And what did it take finally in your journey with that, where you were like no longer resisting, where they were telling you, hey, this is what you're meant to do. You're meant to help others. Where was that for you, where you finally were like, okay, I'm going to do this?
I feel like the more it impacted me and I could experience the shifts and the changes,
Hmm.
because it's something you have to experience to say it's all energy, right? And you can't touch it, but we are all part of it and it's always moving and shifting. And when I started to work with them and work with my energy and work with me being an empath, I saw how it shifted so many of my relationships. Because part of being an empath is not only that we absorb and take on other people's emotions, but if we're not careful, we'll try to match everybody else's emotions. And we get into, so we feel so deeply, right? So, like, let's say we're hanging out with somebody that has a lot of struggles. The empath in us wants to help them and fix them and
Mhm.
save them. But that's not our job. But I think a lot of empaths start to do that because underneath, like if the person we're with is feeling better, then we're going to feel better because we're not going to take on those negative, lower vibration emotions. So I think for me, once I started to see, like, oh, I don't have to necessarily match someone else's energy, I can have empathy for them
Mhm.
and I don't have to try to change them or fix them, right? If somebody asks for help, of course, I'm going to do what I can. But I think when I wasn't aware, I was just always trying to make everyone around me feel better.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I could relate to that actually. Yeah, I've been known to be like that where I felt like I had to take on people's problems a lot growing up, and I just wanted to always make someone smile and laugh and feel good, especially when they were down. 'Cause it almost made me uncomfortable, maybe because of feeling that, and it's like, I don't wanna feel that way, so that's a powerful message, and I'm so glad that you're out here helping people, so give us an idea of what that looks like too, with what you've learned and on your journey and working with clients, like, what does that look like with you?
Um, So a lot of it is, I feel like there's these stages that I saw that I kept going through when I was struggling with things in life,
Mhm.
especially with the health issues. And I feel like the first step is awareness, right? So even being aware that you're an empath or a highly sensitive person, because so many times we don't realize that, right? Something happens, somebody says something to us and it clicks, and then we realize it. And that's great. Awareness is great. But then I feel like the next stage that I help women get to is a place of acceptance with it, right? So we're not going to necessarily be able to change it or get rid of it. So, how can we accept that we are highly sensitive people and see it as a gift? And then I feel like the next stage of that is now we need to release. Like I was talking about, the woman, the intuitive healing is helping you to energetically clear out all that low vibration, negative stuff that you're holding on to. Some of it's yours, right? Because we experience our own stuff. But then a lot of times we're picking up from the people that we live with, even with our children and with our spouses. And what I find is family members is huge. There's so much more going there. There's history, there's potential generational trauma, there's other things that are going to get triggered. And I know personally for me, I felt like, oh, my family should be my safe space,
Not always.
right?
Yeah, yeah,
We
there's
laugh,
Mhm.
but it's not. It's
Yeah.
not always, right? For some people,
Yeah.
definitely. But
Mm.
for me, I was not working on clearing my energy and setting my space, and would feel myself just get so heightened after spending time with certain family members. And so part of the whole journey is okay, so it was awareness, acceptance, and then release, like learning how to release and to let go. And so I have a ton of tools that will help you do this. And I feel like in the beginning, sometimes I remember I was like, okay, I cleared my energy, I'm good. Well, sometimes you need to clear energy hourly, depending on where you're at or who you're holding, right? Because you can clear energy and then something else can come back. And so there's tools that I walk women through. So how can you clear your energy?
Yeah.
How can you let it go? And one of them that I love is just simply breathing, because you can do that at any point, right? You just breathe in, and as you breathe out, you just intentionally allow yourself to let go of any energy that you're holding on to that's not yours.
Yeah. That's
And it's just a simple intention to set. And
that's
so I have different ways to do that I walk women through. And then I feel like the fourth stage that I really take women through is the last one is nurture, because I know that what I did was okay, I worked through this health issue and I figured out I was an empath, and now I'm clearing my energy and I'm releasing. And now, well, it comes up again. The same thing comes up again. And then I would get mad at myself. Like, I thought I already dealt with this. I figured this out. I've already cleared my energy from that person or that situation. Right. And
Yeah.
that's just not how life goes. Life is a process, it's not linear. And so the nurture part is just like that reminder, that forgiveness, that self compassion piece, to know that sometimes I feel like we're only given as much as we can handle in that time of our lives. And healing happens in layers. So I think of it as okay, I healed a layer, and now a deeper layer is coming up for me to heal. And I'm ready to heal that.
Wow.
So the nurture part is about just reminding that you may go back to awareness, you may go back to acceptance, and you may go back to releasing. And that's normal. And that's a normal part of life. And to have compassion for yourself with that.
Oh, yeah. And I think the compassion piece is actually a crucial piece because that was something even on my journey. You my experience with life coaching was so transformational and how they helped you with building the awareness about yourself and understanding the limiting beliefs and how your subconscious mind is running the program and how we have to work to retrain that so we can actually attract what we want. And through all of that, it's like you're right, there's so many great tools and strategies, and there would be times that I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm doing all the work and it feels great and I'm seeing all these changes in myself, and then something would happen and I would find myself feeling my old ways and being depressed again and being upset. And then I would be like, oh no, all that work I did was, it's like, what
Mm.
I messed up. What am I not doing right? How is this not working anymore? And I would beat myself up for it because I'm like, but it was working. And so I love it because it is so true and so real that we are humans. We are going to have good and bad, and things are not always going to be easy, and that's okay. And what's cool is noticing that even though I may have fallen sometimes back into finding myself in that depressed state again, is like the difference because now, unlike before, I do have these tools and strategies. I do have this awareness that I can be like, oh, I see myself falling back into that, or I see myself feeling this way. And like you say, instead of where I was at first beating myself up now, somebody helped me to realize that and be like, no, 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 this is what this is for. It's a lifetime. It's lifestyle. It's your lifestyle now. It's a way of living your life, which is so much better than being swallowed and
Mm.
consumed in that on a daily basis. So now I'm able to see, it's like you can almost like the outer body experience, right? You see yourself
Mhm,
getting in those
mhm.
states or yourself feeling that. And it's like, but no, I'm going to choose to do the work. I'm going to choose to take the breath or to do what I need to do for myself to reframe it and to get out of it because I have that now, unlike before. And that's the
And
power of it, right?
yeah, and I see it as peaks and valleys, right?
Mm.
I feel like for a long time in my life, I was trying to live at the peak, right?
Mm.
I don't want to be in the valley. It doesn't feel good. I want to keep getting to
Yes.
the top
Yeah.
and realizing that it's normal to be in the valleys. And I feel like for a while I was in the valley for too long. And then, like you were saying, it's like I'm trying to get to that peak and then I would slide back down. But what I noticed is that once I learned all the tools, I didn't stay in the valley as long as I used to. And I had the tools to pull myself up. And knowing, like, I also feel like when we make a choice to be in this world, it's almost like, okay, so here's a couple more things for you to learn,
Yeah.
right? Because we teach from our experiences.
Mhm.
And so I feel like me committing to this work is also committing to more experiences and lessons that I'm going to learn. And sometimes I forget that and I'm like, really? I need something else, right? But then, then
Yes.
I look at my tools and then I'm like,
Mhm.
okay, what do I need to learn from this situation instead of like right the whole it was happening for me, not to me.
Yes. Yes, that is such a powerful truth that so many of us are just now exploring for ourselves because you're right. And in any decision you make, whether it's in your business or in a relationship or just in life in general, it's so unpredictable, and there's so much you're always going to be learning and changing and adjusting. And Lord knows, I know on this journey as an entrepreneur, it has been such a roller coaster. It's like where I feel I'm in this one direction, I just learned this really incredible skill set, or I learned all this cool stuff and these tools, and I can't wait to share it with other people and my clients, and then to just go and it just bombs, or it just doesn't really end up feeling aligned with who I am. Or then all of a sudden I hear from somebody else who has a completely different way of doing things, and it's like, you're right, there's always so much learning, different perspectives, different things along the way, and it's so important to embrace it and also allow yourself to kind of fall sometimes because it's going to happen. I know I've made those mistakes of just like jumping the gun and being like, I'm going to do this. And I just wasn't probably ready for it, but it's okay because the way I looked at it is, hey, it's still experience. I'm still preparing myself because that's who I am and that's who I'm going to be. And,
Mhm.
it's just part of the journey of us figuring out this thing called life, right?
Yeah, and I feel like that it's that shiny object syndrome, right? And
Right.
of course, everyone talks social media. You're looking at how everyone else is doing it when, many times it's putting your best foot forward on social media. It's not always real life happening in real time. And what I talk about a lot with clients is we have the answers inside of us. And the uncomfortableness happens when we start to try to get those answers outside of ourselves, right? Saying that someone else has the answer. And if I do it this way,
Hmm.
and when we think about it, if we tune into that uncomfortableness, we would see it, right? But a lot of times we can disconnect from our body and how we're feeling and stay in the mind and just push and move forward and just kind of ignore the signs sometimes. So part of it too with the empath stuff is learning to identify like what are my feelings, what are my emotions versus everyone else's. And if you've been living a long time not necessarily knowing you're an empath, that can be really uncomfortable because it can feel like I've heard women say, well, that feels like I'm being selfish or I'm not being nice, right? Because now you're not worrying about everybody else. You're worrying more about you first. And so, yeah.
And yet, do you realize though, like that in general, like that is the most important thing you can do because it's proven time and time that the more you do help yourself and focus on you first, the better you'll be for everybody else. And the better you'll show up for everybody else. And so, it's so nice to see that growth in a lot of us that we are trying to push that message, help people realize how important it is to focus on you, and it's not selfish. It's actually necessary in order to make every area of your life because all of it, it's all intertwined together. It's not just like, "Oh, my career is going to be great and then that's all that matters." No, it's not just, "Oh, I have a good relationship and that's it." It's your life, your mind, your body, your spirit. All of it is connected. And if it's one's off, then the others are going to fall off too. And so that's what it's about is like finding that way of really getting the help in all of it because like you found out on your journey you were going, and I've seen this too where certain people have these chronic pains in their bodies and doctors are like you're fine, the tests come back, nothing's hurt, and nobody wants to hear that it's probably in your mind, but it's not to say that to be rude like oh you're making it up. It's more of like it's true. If your mind is not in a place of good mental health, if you're not loving yourself and taking care of yourself mentally, then yes, that actually can cause you to experience pain in your body because it's your body, it's your mind and your body's way of trying to tell you something's wrong. And it doesn't always have to mean that it's a physical thing that you've, done to your body. It can easily be that. And just getting that ability to stop feeling like we're so selfish for talking about this stuff or focusing on ourselves because it's necessary.
Yeah, I feel like it's
Yeah.
it's starting to change and shift. And I think it
Yeah.
also depends on, they say people that you surround yourself with, right? Or you surrounding
Yes.
yourself. And sometimes you can't avoid certain people,
Yeah.
right? Like if you're working in an office setting, sometimes there's family members or people that you see on a regular basis. And you have to remember, right, that different views is okay. And where do you want to be?
Yeah.
And staying on your path of healing and self-love and self-compassion.
Hey there, aspiring entrepreneurs. Ready to turn your free time into a flourishing digital marketing business? Introducing Lipo Max, your comprehensive all-in-one package for launching a successful venture. With Lipo Max, you'll get access to over 200 in-depth, beginner-friendly training videos tailored to your needs. Plus, enjoy lifetime access with continuous course updates, weekly training calls, and ongoing community support, all without any monthly fees or extra charges. And the best part? You'll benefit from a high-demand digital product, the course, expertly crafted and ready for immediate sale. Yes, that means you earn 100% profit on every sale. Don't miss out on this incredible opportunity to transform your free time into a profitable business. Join LipoMax today and watch your dreams take flight. Click on the link in the show note today to learn more.
I have recently been attracting more and more women like you and people who are like-minded, but at the same time, you're right. I can't avoid certain family or certain people that are set in their ways. And, it's important to understand that. And people are who they are, and people are going to project onto you who they are, whether they mean to or not. And it's nice seeing it that way because it's easier to not take things so personally. And when you have that understanding, well, what would you say for people who are empaths and having to have these experiences around people that they can't avoid? What's some advice you'd give them?
If you can't avoid, it's all about setting boundaries, and that's energetic boundaries and physical boundaries, right? So, can you limit the time that you see them? Maybe you have to see them for whatever reason, but can you limit how much that interaction is? And then I believe setting intentions is huge. So, sometimes someone else's energy can just bowl us over, just take us over. And so setting that intention that you're going to stay in your space and in your energy. And I even visualize filling up your space with whatever you're needing. Are you needing love? Are you needing compassion? Are you needing patience? What do you need before you go into that situation? Because I think so many times we just walk into these things not really prepared. And then because if you're an empath, you're automatically just going to feel that wave of energy and then it can just take you over. So I feel like if you know you're going into a situation where you're going to be around certain people, then how can you prepare ahead of time? How can you make sure your energy is clear? And I also walk through practices to help women realize what does their energy even feel like when no one else is around? Like, do you even know? Do you even know what just you feels like? And so the more you tune into that, then the quicker you're going to feel when someone else's energy is starting to impede on yours.
Mhm.
And then you can work through your practices. How do I let that go? That's not mine. I don't need it. Like I even sometimes brush my hand, like, nope, not mine.
Yeah.
Not mine.
Yeah, that's awesome. No, it's incredible and so important on this journey that we're on because especially as an empath, I mean, energy is everything. It's
Mhm.
everything. And so to have to
Everywhere.
take, yeah, and it is, and to have to take on others, especially if it's not good energy, do you feel like the more in tuned you are with your energy, that you have been able to also influence other people through your energy pretty well?
Yes, I
Yeah.
think that it's a process, right? And it's different
Yeah.
for everyone. And I think in the beginning, it was learning that I even did it. How did I do it? Why do I do it? And then realizing how it feels, and then really working on separating my energy. But then I think as more time went on, I'm like, oh, I would always want to try to match someone's energy, right? If they're not feeling good, well, I don't want to feel too good and make them feel bad, which is silly. But now I think I can keep my energy where it is, or I can raise my energy.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe the other person feels it and it raises theirs. Maybe not. It's not my job, but that's how I kind of want to show up.
Ah,
Like I can keep my energy raised and higher. I have noticed it has affected people. Some people know, and some people, yes, right?
yeah.
Because I don't know about you, but have you ever been around those people that on the outside, they're really happy, really smiley, but you just know on the inside it doesn't match.
Yes. Yes, I have. Yes, I
And it
have.
feels so
Mhm.
uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And that was a journey for me because I would point these things out sometimes, but a lot of the people around me didn't agree. They're like, what do you mean? That person is so nice. And look how they're talking and look how they're acting. And I'm thinking, there's something that is rubbing me the wrong way. And for a while, I would just have to keep it to myself because I would kind of feel like I'm being a little like not nice. Like I'd be like, I don't know, that person just seems like
Yeah.
we should stay our distance. And 9 times out of 10, something would happen. And it
Yeah.
was true. Their inside was not matching their outside. And so
Mm.
that's that energy feeling that you pick up.
Oh, nice. That's interesting because I mean, yeah, that's very true for a lot of people, actually. I mean, I think that for me was something that made it really hard to be around certain people. And the way I looked at it was the fakeness. It's
Mhm.
that fakeness of putting on the show, like you just have it all together and that you're almost better than everybody else. And then it's like, but yet your life is in shackles. Like deep down, they're just miserable and, but they want to personify that they, have it all together and that they're so great and this and that. It's like, it's very hard to be around that. For me, it is anyways. It
And
was very challenging.
the crazy thing too is sometimes those people, I think, personify it so much that they start to believe it,
Hmm.
right? So they
Hmm.
don't connect to the other side, right? Nope, everything is
Yes.
okay.
Yeah. And you realize the behaviors that come out of that too are very sabotaging. And that is why it's so important to be true to yourself and to be honest with yourself if you are somebody who is putting on that mask and putting on that front, because until you really face and accept and learn to love that other side of you that's not so good and feeling miserable and dealing with stuff that needs your love, you're not going to ever get to the other side where you're going to have the right energy that's external and internal and then really be the person you're meant to be. I mean, even in my own journey that I had to come to terms with, there was a lot about myself that I was like, I'm not happy like feeling like I had to be somebody I'm not in order to feel accepted or to feel like maybe they'll give me the time of day then or whatever it was. I was just really at a point where I want to be me. And who is me? I mean, there was that point. I had been a mom for so long and just lost an employee working from this job to that job, learning different skills, but never really feeling like I fit in anywhere. I mean, my whole life growing up, I never really felt like I fit in anywhere. Like that's
Mm.
part of the reason why I was so insecure. And so getting to a point where I'm like, now I really get to work on this discovery of who I am and work on who do I want to be, period. Dot. It doesn't matter my past, but who do I want to be? Who do I want to show up as? How do I want to live my life? And then I get to be her. I get to be her while embracing who I am overall, the good, the
Mm.
bad, the ugly. I get to embrace it all and then just kind of work on figuring out each and every day who I get to be, who I want to be, and not worry about what anyone else thinks. And
Yeah.
that's such a fun journey, I think, and fun thing
Yeah.
to be as a woman, or just as a person, period dot. As a person, it's just nice to really be true to yourself. And like I said, I can imagine with you how far this has taken you in your life. I already see it. And I'm excited for you that you did decide to pursue this career and this path as a business owner and helping other women. And is it women mostly your
It,
clientele?
yeah, that's what
Yeah.
I attract. And something
Yes.
I wanted to say to your
Hmm.
point too about the whole journey and finding yourself. I think for me, what helps me is I talk a lot about peace.
Oh.
Like peace is what I was searching for. I don't
Mm.
know if I even know what it really meant. I just know that I wanted that feeling. I just wanted to be at peace with myself, with my mind, with my thoughts, with my body, with my life. And that's what I come back to when I start feeling like I'm starting to judge or take things personally, or expectations was a big thing for me, having these expectations of other people, and then nobody would ever meet them. And or as an empath, like I thought, oh, I'm a very caring, nurturing person, and so should everyone else be. And so just working through that. But it's always like, okay, can I come back to peace? Can I be at peace no matter what? Because nothing's ever going to be perfect all the time. There's going to be those peaks and valleys, but can you find peace in knowing that there's going to be peaks and valleys, and there's going to be hard times, and there's going to be good times, and it's all part of life and being human?
And do you feel like you're pretty, I would say you're pretty well on that journey right now, finding that peace when you
Oh,
can.
yeah. Totally. And I
Oh,
still have
yeah.
times where, something happens and I attract somebody that I don't know, their energy. I thought it was going to be good and it turned out it wasn't, right?
Yeah,
You figure it out, but it's a balance because I also want to expect the best in everybody, but it's a balance, right?
it
It's a
is.
balance to protect yourself too and take care of what you need.
And through this changes that you've made, how did that affect your relationships? Like as you were going through it and when you came on the other side, what's some of the things you noticed about the changes that you saw?
I lost a lot of relationships. I really did. Like a lot of my friendships, I felt like I was holding on to a lot of them. Some of them just because I knew them for so long. And can I really not be friends with these people because I've had them in my life for too long? But as I started to change and shift, and I think this happens with everybody when you go on your healing journey, either people are going to change and shift with you, or you're going to really see that difference. They're not moving, they're not changing, and you are. And it's not good or bad, it's just different. And then so I lost a lot of friends, gained some others. So that's good. And I do feel like my family dynamics have been a journey for me, but like a 180 with some of the people in my family,
Yeah.
where I can look back and I've been journaling since my 20s. And so I've been doing a lot of writing and looking back at my journals. And it's incredible the difference because part of what it's helped me do is get to a place of acceptance with my family members. And with that, what I try to do is accept people exactly where they're at. And for so long, like I wanted them to be different. I
Mm,
wanted them to talk to me differently or treat me differently, show up differently. And that was where the rub was, like,
yeah.
oh, why can't they just do this? I do it. Why can't they do it? Why aren't they as available as I am? Why don't, that kind of thing. And once I was on this healing path and like trying to accept myself and where I'm at, I'm like, oh, I need to accept other people where they're at. And then once I did that, it just shifted my perception. It shifted how I interacted with them. I was able to let go of expectations because that was part of it, right? Like, my mom should be this person, my dad should be this person, my sister needs to be this person to me. And then when I look back, I'm like, well, have they been that person to you? Is that something you've just been wanting all this time?
Mm,
So letting me look at like,
yeah.
what is it that I get from these relationships? And can I be okay with that versus what I think I should be getting from them or what I want
Yeah,
to
that's
get from them?
huge. Yeah, that's huge. And Monica, I can relate to that so much. I see myself. Yeah, that is again, just this is why I love like having these conversations because it again shows how not alone so many of us are. Because I just see myself in you when you talk like that. Like that was always something that hurt so much of my relationships in the past was that expectations of like they should act and be a certain way, or that means they don't love me, that means they
Mm,
don't care about me. And I would get so hurt when people would, because I'm always that kind of person who made myself available for anybody
mm,
anytime they needed. But when I needed them, then they didn't show up. I didn't understand it. I would let it hurt me so bad instead of realizing, Mary, everyone has their own unique path. Everyone is their own unique person. And just because I may be a certain way does not mean that everyone else is going to be that way. And when you start to really accept that and see that, then you don't, suffer.
oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And I still see it happening. I'm still working on that,
Oh,
that
I
expectation thing and that
yes.
acceptance thing. But again, now I don't fall so far back or so far deep
Yes.
or so long. Now I'm like, oh yep, doing it again.
Yeah. No, right? It's like you can see yourself, you're like, "Oh, here we go." But yes, it's so nice
Mhm.
to at least recognize it because you're right, it is an ongoing process. I mean, it's something that I even notice where there's so many times I wanna reach out to people, but I hold myself back because of past experiences and past hurts of people letting me down and, not responding. So I wouldn't allow myself to, even though I'm thinking about them and I want to reach out, it's like, I'm like, nah, they're probably too busy. Nah, I came up with that. And that is one of the things I've been working to recognize and just be like, no, Mary, if you're thinking about it, that must mean something. Like maybe they need to hear from you. And,
Mhm.
and so I've been working to get better about that and just have more conversations and put myself out there more. I love meeting new people. I think that is so important, especially on the journey that we're on. Meeting new people is crucial and fun. So
Mhm,
it's
mhm.
nice to get to do these things right here and just, like I said, talk all these things because I know there's someone's going to be listening and can relate to this.
Oh,
And
right.
just know that it not just that you're not alone, but that there's ways to rise above it. There's ways to handle it that will help you to live a fulfilled life, that will help you to have peace and see different outcomes and have a better perspective that will help you not have to suffer in the ways that you've been suffering for so long. Like, aren't you tired of that? And this is why we're here trying to talk about it and to show you that we've went through these journeys, through coaching, through all sorts of kind of therapies or whatever it is, whether it's energy healing. There's so much out there that you need to find for yourself that can really help you to be the best version of yourself and know that it's okay. It's not a one time you're going to go and be fixed. It's not
Right.
about fixing you. It's just about embracing you. It's about figuring out who you are, what's your unique path, what you're meant to do, and then what kind of steps can I take each and every day to love myself, take care of myself, and work towards what I want out of life. Because that is something that people don't realize. Like, you can think about it all you want of what you want, but if you're not willing to take action towards it, you're never going to arrive. You've got to work as you attract it. It goes hand in hand. So,
Yeah. And just remembering that we're all unique and have our own unique paths
yes.
and
Yeah.
not trying to follow and fit into someone else's path.
Yes, that is a lesson even I'm working on learning. So, yes, exactly. It is, but that's why I'm such an advocate now for speaking towards that because I've learned that on my path that you know what, we all have our different timing. Like just because it's happening for somebody else before it's happening for you, doesn't mean that it's not meant to. And again, it's just more evidence that it's possible. And you need to trust that it's going to happen for you when it's meant to.
Right, because that can be that slippery slope of comparison, right? And
Yeah,
we never know what's going on in someone's life behind the scenes,
true
right?
that. Yeah.
Not everybody shares that or wants us to know, and that's okay, but nobody's life is perfect.
No, no. I mean, even some of the most incredible mentors that I have followed and loved to death, they even talk about how they're still in therapy. They still have their stuff going on. And that's what I love because it's real. And even though they know they are on the other side from where they were, or they still got their own stuff to go through, but
Oh, yeah.
it doesn't mean that we can't still empower each other and help each other get through those times. And keep working towards finding the happiness and the success and the joys that we deserve because it is within us. It's always been there. Just sometimes you need that help of finding it. And there's
And learning.
nothing wrong with that. There is, if anything, you need to do that. Like, don't stay stuck. Don't stay alone. Don't stay defeated. Let's rise above it. Let's come together. Let's help each other out. Find that person, whether it's Monica, whether it's me, whether it's somebody else you're following, go find that person that you can turn to and get that transformation that you need for yourself.
Mhm.
I'm just so passionate about that. And speaking of too, if somebody was interested in working with you, Monica, tell us a little bit about where we can find you.
I think that the best way would be my website. It's the monicosachek.com. And I have some meditations and some other things on there that can give you an idea a little bit about my story too, about how, yes, I could work. I do a little bit of I do visualizations, meditations. I have some trauma work that I do because I find that can be such a barrier to our healing is that trauma and more of an on an energetic level can be very powerful to clear that stuff without having to rehash it all. Yeah, and then one-on-one and group coaching.
Love it. I love it. And we'll be sure, of course, to share your information in the show notes when that time comes. But yeah, it's been such a great conversation. So awesome having you here, Monica. Is there any final piece of advice or just something you would love to say for the listeners before we end here?
I think one thing that came up as you were talking was a huge shift for me was when I was stuck or struggling, when I was able to shift that to it's a lesson that I'm learning and embrace that's the lesson. And what helped me to shift out of it was wanting to realize what that lesson was and understand what the lesson was. I feel like sometimes that's the stuckness and the resistance that we're fighting, right? Instead of like embracing this is a lesson and I'm learning and what am I supposed to be learning versus getting into that place of poor me, why is this happening to me? I'm stuck, I'm struggling, which, it happens, but can you get to that place of like, what is this trying to show me?
Mhm. Yeah, so true because it is through the storms a lot of times and the failures and the downs that we really learn the most about
Mhm.
ourselves and about situations. And I think a lot of times too, it's a test in a way of just how much faith, how much trust do you have, not just in yourself, but in God, in the universe,
Mm.
to really
Mhm.
come through for you in the end. And Lord knows I have been tested here recently. I have been through that. So I understand all too well how easily that can make you feel so defeated and be so hard on a person who's in that situation, which again is why just ask yourself what you can learn from it. What can,
Right. Yeah,
yeah.
I think that's a huge one.
Yep, I love it. I think that's a fantastic way to end this. So, Monica, I want to thank you so much for taking the time to be here with us on the show today. It really means a lot.
Thanks, Mary. Thanks for having me on your show. I really appreciate it.
Monica is such a wonderful soul. I am so thankful to know her. Here are the key takeaways from today's episode. If you identify as an empath or highly sensitive person, understand that your sensitivity is not a weakness. It's a unique gift that allows you to connect deeply with others and create meaningful relationships. Recognizing that you're an empath is crucial. This awareness allows you to start understanding your emotions and how you might be absorbing others' energy. Once you're aware, the next step is to accept this aspect of yourself. Fighting against your sensitivity won't serve you. Instead, embrace it as part of who you are. It's important to regularly release emotions and energy that don't belong to you. Techniques like deep breathing can help you clear out negative or heavy energy that you picked up from others. As an empath, you don't have to carry the emotions of others. Learn to set boundaries and protect your energy, ensuring that you don't take on more than you can handle. Healing is not a one-time event. It's an ongoing process that happens in layers. Be kind to yourself, forgive yourself when old wounds resurface, and recognize that healing takes time. You can be empathetic and support others without sacrificing your own well-being. It's about finding the balance between caring for others and caring for yourself. Your sensitivity can feel overwhelming at times, but with the right tools and mindset, it can be transformed into a powerful gift that enhances your life and the lives of those around you. If you feel called to help others, don't resist it. Your experiences and healing journey can become a source of strength and guidance for those who are on a similar path. Understand that healing comes in stages. Each layer you peel back reveals another that needs attention. But with each step, you grow stronger and more in tune with your true self. If you would like to learn more about Monica and how she can help you on your journey, be sure to click on her links in the show notes and contact her today. Also, be sure to let us know what you think or what takeaways you got from tuning in. We would greatly appreciate it if you would share this episode with a fellow mom and leave us a 5-star rating if this has been helpful and impactful for you so we can work to reach as many moms out there as possible. If you feel you are ready to take action, but not quite sure what to do or how to stay consistent with the goals you set, as a life coach, I can help you. I offer a free discovery call, so I would love to learn more about you and your goals so we can create a game plan together and see if I may be a good fit to help you along the way. Either way, it is valuable and I want to help you get started and going in any way I can. Visit me at marydibblecoaching.com or send me a message to learn more. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week. Until next time, much love.